Hello and welcome to another play and chat video. This time round I'm playing Motorstorm Apocalypse on the PlayStation 3. Just to kick off things, I'll have a quick chat about this game. This game, as you can see, is it's visually stunning. This is one of the best looking games I've ever seen. Certainly one of the best, if not the best, racing game that I've ever seen. It looks great and there's elements to it are absolutely fantastic, but I think the game is let down in a couple of areas to stop it being truly awesome. It's a good game and I do enjoy playing it, but there are just some annoying things, like sometimes the vehicle, it'll explode. You'll avoid like a falling skyscraper and then you'll clip a real small piece of scenery and your vehicle will just blow up. It's little frustrating things like that happen with an alarming regularity in the game that become annoying. You can avoid it, but sometimes it's a bit of luck and sometimes it's just playing the courses to death so you know them inside out and know the best places to go. I wouldn't mind being flattened by the falling skyscraper. I do mind being blown up by a random pebble that happens to be at the end of a jump that you've taken, where you've got very little control once you're in the air over where your vehicle lands. There are some elements as well on one of the levels where you're racing along a boardwalk. You go over a jump, you land, and then there's a little hole, it appears, in the boardwalk, and if the wheel of your vehicle goes into that, then that's it, it's good night Vienna. And the other thing that I'm not too keen on as well is the over-reliance on using the boost. Now you'll see in the bottom right corner, that's the boost gauge, and as you use the boost, which you use by pressing the X button, it gets hot, and once it reaches a certain temperature, a little siren sound thing will go off to let you know that your car's about to blow up, and if you continue to press the button you will blow up, as you saw just before. Or alternatively you'll become distracted by that and then crash into a piece of scenery like you saw there. Now you really have to hammer using the boost in order to win races. Certainly that's in my experience. Other people may have a different experience of it because they're probably better at racing the game than I am. But I'm not totally crap at racing games, and you know, I've played quite a few in my time, and I'm not overly keen on that reliance. It kind of, I know why it's there, and it's to stop you running away with the race and it's to keep things exciting, but for a game such as Motorstorm Apocalypse, which has so many real-time events that happen within the game, you know, the environment is very dynamic. I mean, the basic plot is you're racing through a post-apocalyptic world where there's still natural disasters that go on, be it earthquakes. In this level here in particular, you know, it's like high winds and a tornado and so on and so forth. So, you know, there's plenty of challenge to be had from the environment. Sometimes you just don't need the challenge of actually having to watch a boost gauge and having to micromanage that in order to win the race. Like I say, some people may have a much better way of playing it than I do, and may be able to find the necessary shortcuts and what have you, but I don't. But I mean, as you can see, it is absolutely stunning to look at. I mean, there's some things in here just are genuinely breathtaking and do really show the capabilities of the PlayStation 3, and everything moves along at a nice fast frame rate as well. There's the odd graphical glitch. The other main thing that annoys me is sometimes when a vehicle comes up behind you, it seems because your character moves away from the camera as you accelerate, as you can see here with the guy on the motorbike that I'm controlling. If a vehicle comes right up behind you, that tends to clip in front of your view on the camera, so all you can see is like the half drawn vehicle. It's almost like you're half stuck inside the vehicle that's right behind you, And that's really annoying as well, because you can't bloody see where you're going, and then you come flying off and he goes past you and what have you. And you know, like I say, there's enough challenge with the environment. It doesn't need all of that crap going on as well. And I found that quite problematic in some of the races where, you know, where it was like in the main career mode. I mean, I'm playing the recreation mode here, which, you know, is just like a free race around the circuits, just to sort of show off what the circuit, what the game looks like, you know, with some of the different levels and different environmental challenges and so on and so forth. But there is a lot going on, and it can be very easy to get distracted, and that sometimes becomes a little bit annoying. The game really doesn't need that, those type of annoyances, and it lets it down a little bit. I mean, compared to the other Motorstorm games, I much prefer this one. There's probably going to be a legion of people out there now who are probably swearing at the computer screen, saying I'm an idiot and that the other games are better and this is the worst. I found the handling of the vehicles in this game a lot more responsive, a lot better. I found it, dare I say, marginally easier than the other Motorstorm games, and I just got a lot more enjoyment out of it. I thought it was stunning to look at, and I absolutely loved the environment, the constantly changing environment I was racing in. I think it's a terrific idea, and I just preferred it. So yeah, that's all I have to pretty much say about Motorstorm Apocalypse. If you want to, it's actually free. It's another one of these games. Although this isn't a free version that I'm using now, this is actually a version that I downloaded. Sorry, didn't download. I bought when it came out. If you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber, you can currently download this for free. So it's well worth checking out. I mean, it is an amazing looking game, and it is an enjoyable game. It's just let down by a couple of niggles, which are all the more frustrating because I think it wouldn't have taken much to have fixed those problems, and sometimes that makes it even worse when you're that close. I mean, this should be an absolute system seller, and I just think it's let down by a couple of incidents like that, which are a bit annoying. So yeah, check it out, especially if you've got PlayStation Plus, because it won't even cost you a penny. And I reckon as a result of that, you can probably pick up a retail version of this relatively cheap too. So it's worth keeping an eye out for it, because it is well worth it, and it's a damn fine game. Anyway, on with the rest of my play and chat. Now, last week I uploaded a play and chat video, Just Cause 2. And that video was over half an hour long. I think it was about 36 minutes long. This one will be a bit shorter. I think this is going to be about 20-21 minutes long. Looking at the recording clock on my computer, yeah, 21 minutes and 20 seconds it should come out at, I think. I went to upload that video last week, and it took a day and a half to upload it. Now, I will admit, it was a high definition video. It was a long video, and I think the actual file size was about 3 gig. But there's no way on earth, with the current technology, it should take a day and a half to upload a video of that size. It would never have took me that long in the past. I mean, I have uploaded other play and chats which went on for a while. And the main problem is British Telecom, our old friends BT. I used to get the best part of 1 meg upload on my broadband service. At worst, I would get 0.70 MPS upload speeds. Most of the time I was pushing 1 meg, and it was like that for, I know I had it from I think 2006, and it was like that from when I got my broadband, and I've always had it through BT. And I will say that I have had very, very few problems with it, in fairness. But at the beginning of this year I did have a problem, and that problem was it kept disconnecting randomly. It got to the point where it was annoying. It was disconnecting 4 or 5 times a day, and there was no reason for it. You know, prior to that, I could probably count on the fingers on one hand the number of disconnects I would have a year. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I mean, when I say disconnect, I mean that the modem was disconnecting completely from BT, and I was having to go and reset the modem. And at first the problem, you know, quite logically thought the problem was the fact that the modem was on its way. So, you know, BT sent one of their brand new modems, you know, the ones that are fibre optic ready, but I don't have the fibre optic service, but it'll still work perfectly well with the copper wire. And unfortunately the problem didn't go away. It was still doing the random disconnecting 4 or 5 times a day. So they sent an engineer out, and he replaced some cabling which he felt was the problem, and he installed a new box. I don't know what the hell you call these things. It's the box that the main wire runs into from outside. And he said that the box that we had there before was a very old one and wasn't really up to the task of a modern day digital society. So he replaced that and everything was fine. And when he was here, he did a test. He tested the speeds, and I did a test. He asked me to use the speed test functionality on. You can go onto the speed test website, and apparently that's what BT use. And I'm on 8 meg broadband, and at that point I was actually getting 9 meg download, and I was getting about the usual 1 meg upload, so everything was hunky-dory. And he did the test using his they have a little contraption, and he tested it on his little contraption. Now that bypasses everything, that just purely connects the capabilities of the line, so it actually cuts out the router. It doesn't incorporate the modem or anything like that at all. And he was getting very good results on that, and everything was fine. He then phoned up, I suppose, his main office, and he asked them to perform a synchronization. Now, bear in mind, I was already connected with BT and everything was fine, and I was able to access the internet. When they did that synchronization, my download speed dropped from 9 to 7, well 7.5, which I wasn't too upset about because I was getting about 4 before, so I was still very, very happy. I mean, you know, I'm only paying for 8 meg broadband, and if I was getting 7.5 to 8 meg, I'm not bothered. You know, I don't want something. You know, I'm not going to argue about not getting something I'm not entitled to. But the problem that I had with it all was my upload speed went from nearly enough 1 meg to 0.3. Now, it's never been that slow, ever. I mean, even with the disconnect problems, that was one thing I never had a problem with, was the actual upload speed. Now, he offered the explanation at the time that it's probably just because they've done a synchronization and it'll probably calm down after a couple of days, and if not, to let them know. Well, I did. Now, if any of you have ever slagged off BT on Twitter, have ever called them out and called them crap or whatever, I think they have 2 or 3 people, I think it's a couple of people if their Twitter profile account is anything to go by, that must have the wonderful job of trawling Twitter every day, looking for complaints about BT and trying to resolve them. And I think that's pretty good, it's a pretty good idea. And they do come across as being quite the helpful people. And they said, well, let us know what's going on. And they asked me to do a speed test run 3 times a day for a week, and to make a note of what speeds I was getting, and to sort of give them an aggregate speed, or an average speed in that time. Now I went away and I did that, and it never went above 0.35 in all of that time. It always sort of stayed at that speed, and I let them know, and they said, well, you know, just keep looking, you know, keep giving us feedback. So I did, and at the end of the week they said, has the speed got faster? So I said, well, no, it's still the same as it was always. And they came back and they said, well, we can't guarantee upload speeds. And I was like, well, hang on a minute, why the hell have you just asked me to do these speed test runs 3 times a day for a week if there's not a damn thing you can do about it anyway? And the annoying thing is actually part of me wasn't especially bothered about that. What I was annoyed about was the fact that why had the speed been reduced? If I'm supposed to have a new box which is supposed to be better, and I've got a new modem which is supposed to be better, then all I want is an explanation as to why my upload speed has been more than halved. Okay, I get that they can't guarantee the speeds that you get on the copper wire service because a lot of it is down to distance from the exchange, and I understand all of that. But I've not moved, and as far as I'm aware the exchange has not moved. So if my download speed has increased, why is my upload speed more than halved? And this has sort of led to the problem of it taking a day and a half for me to upload a video. And it's kind of annoying, and the overriding feeling I get from BT is what they want is for you, or for me, to go over to their fibre optic. Now in fairness, that wouldn't cost me any more money a month, and it wouldn't cost me any money for them to come out and do it. But the point is, I'm kind of working on going to America, and I don't particularly want to be faffing around for the sake of a couple of months, you know, for 2 or 3 months, having the rigmarole of them coming out and installing fibre optic here. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and I don't necessarily agree with that business practice, to be perfectly honest. I don't see why, when I've had something for a number of years that's worked perfectly fine and has had an acceptable speed which I've been happy with, why that should change. You know, certainly I can't understand why my upload speed has been reduced dramatically whilst my download speed has increased quite dramatically. But yeah, it just annoys me. BT just annoy me. A lot of these internet service providers are diabolically shit, and they do annoy me. They don't care. The bottom line is they don't care. They want to give you the most basic service as possible, and they ultimately just don't care at all about whether or not the service that you get is what you want. They're more interested in whether or not the service that they give you is good enough, and when it isn't, they just have all of the excuses known to mankind to fall behind. So yeah, that's my rant against British Telecom out of the way. Yeah, I think there wasn't really a whole lot else I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to sort of get that off my chest because I was so frustrated it took so long to upload, you know, a 36-minute video. It just seemed utterly ridiculous to me, and you know, it's frustrating. I know that this video, just looking at the time, will probably take the best part of a day, if not a whole day, to upload, and I just think it's pathetic. But I'm not going to stop doing these videos because I enjoy making them. So yeah, just trying to think if there was anything else really. I don't think so. It's getting towards that sort of silly season now where everybody starts to release all of the big AAA titles for the year. It starts to get a little bit frustrating on the old wallet. I mean, this is probably going to be the first year actually where it's quite easy for me because I'm moving. There's no real point in me splashing out getting any of the the big games, I might as well wait until I'm where I want to be. Until I, you know, get stateside before I start buying them. I know if I get them on the PS3 they'll work over there, but you know, it's just a bit counterproductive. It'll cost me more to buy the bloody game over here anyway, and then I've got to lug it over there along with other stuff that I want to take, and it just increases costs that you know, I'm trying to cut down on. It just seems to be very little point in doing that, so it's going to be kind of weird, because I'm always been one of these people that's a day one purchaser of a game that I really want. So it's going to seem a little bit strange, but in some respects I'm also kind of looking forward to it. It'll give me, you know, being able to play these games months after they're released. I probably won't have to endure all the shitty bugs that'll probably be littering most of them anyway. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Again, this has been Motorstorm Apocalypse. Check it out, because as I say, you can get it on the PlayStation Plus for free. And yeah, thanks for watching this video, and stay tuned to my channel for more to come.